He is on the cover as one of the 100 most influential companies.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively get yet another fake PR award from Time magazine.
Ryan Reynolds just exposed himself after allegedly pulling strings and leaning on insider connections to fake his way onto Time magazine's influential lists. And it's not just Ryan, Blake Lively is doing the exact same thing. They're using these phony accolades to distract everyone from lawsuits, smear campaigns, and the tidal wave of backlash crashing over them.
Blake Lively was also one of the 100 most influential people in the world based on the fact that they gave some money to charity 6 years earlier.
These two were shoved down everyone's throats as Hollywood's power couple, the picture-perfect marriage, the relatable celebrities everyone was supposed to adore. But guess what? The cracks aren't just showing, they're splitting their entire PR-built empire wide open. And no amount of staged selfies or snarky tweets is going to glue this disaster back together.
Time magazine exposing a deceptively manipulative, and I'm gonna say corrupt, media organization.
This fiasco alone proves just how desperate these two are to cling to their carefully crafted image. Did they really think people are that gullible? That no one would notice when a couple drowning in lawsuits, scandals, and online hate suddenly gets hailed as world-changing icons? Please. The PR machine is short-circuiting, the glossy covers are peeling off, and now everyone is getting a clear look at the ugly reality behind their empire.
Is on the cover as one of the 100 most influential companies in the world, and Maximum Effort, which is this company, is being celebrated, and everyone's like, how much did he pay for this cover? I don't know.
Blake and Ryan Reynolds didn't just want to be another rich celebrity couple. No, they were hell-bent on becoming Hollywood royalty. But newsflash, royalty doesn't come from backdoor deals, phony accolades, and media manipulation. The cracks started to show the second Time magazine decided to play along with their image-fixing operation, and now, the whole foundation is crumbling.
The fact that he even had to answer it in this forum shows it's impacting his business. So he can keep denying it all he wants, but this Jedi mind trick that they're pulling on all of you, this PR spin, don't accept it.
Let's talk about that Time magazine fiasco for a second, because honestly, it is peak desperation.
Lively got this fake award from Time 100. One of the most influential people of 2025, yeah, because she gave a donation to the NAACP back in 2019.
And while everyone was already side-eyeing Blake's miraculous rise to influential status, Ryan Reynolds conveniently had his company, Maximum Effort, named one of the most influential companies, too. What an insane coincidence, right? Or maybe not, because if you look closer, you'll find the same shady connections that always seem to follow these two around. Sure, Ryan's probably raking in piles of cash from his company, but let's not pretend Time magazine is some innocent, unimpeachable institution anymore. The guy who owns it now, Mark Benioff, CEO of Salesforce, happens to have deep ties to Hollywood power brokers like Ari Emanuel. You know, the same Ari Emanuel who just so happens to be Ryan's agent. Funny how all these rich elites keep orbiting the same parties, the same award galas, the same billionaire playgrounds, and somehow everyone keeps landing magazine covers, trophies, and breathless media praise right when they're desperate to clean up their image.
Sure, Ryan Reynolds is making a ton of money from his company.
There are literal photos floating around of Mark Benioff and Rahm Emanuel, Ari's brother, posing together at events, grinning for the cameras, networking in plain sight. And you're telling me none of this is connected? Please. At this point, even their most diehard fans are starting to wonder if these Time magazine honors are real achievements or just pricey PR makeovers propped up by insider hookups.
Went to Time magazine and made a whole deal. Not only are you going to get your wife an award, which you guys need right now, and we'll get a civil rights attorney to step up and vouch for her. We're then going to wait a few months and then we'll promote your business. We're going to put you in the Time 100 companies so you can then not only get the attention, but you can then use all your businesses, which make you all the money.
Meanwhile, the fan base is turning, and social media isn't nearly as easy to manipulate as Ryan probably hoped. The cracks in their picture-perfect couple narrative are wide open now, and the backlash is only getting louder. People can see the staged photo ops for what they really are, desperate distractions from the train wreck happening behind the scenes, And speaking of desperate distractions, where exactly did Blake Lively vanish to after her so-called legal win? You'd think someone as addicted to Instagram as Blake would be throwing herself a victory parade online the minute the lawsuit headlines cooled off. But instead, nothing. Radio silence. And honestly, it's suspicious as hell. Remember the last time the court headlines looked good for her? She was on Instagram within minutes, celebrating, pretending to be the proud champion of victims, making sure everyone knew she was standing up for what's right. But this time, total silence. And people noticed her disappearing act completely. Contradicts the persona she's spent years shoving down everyone's throats. One minute she's loud and proud about fighting the good fight, and the next she's hiding the second the narrative stops benefiting her. It's almost like all that activism was just another PR stunt. Shocking, right? Legal insiders are whispering too. The Van Zen sham lawsuit, the one looking more and more like a distraction tactic than any real search for justice, is still spiraling out of control. And Blake's team is working overtime trying to dodge accountability. But her silence isn't making it go away. It's making it worse. The internet is ruthless, and the longer she hides, the louder the backlash grows. The funniest part? Even with all the staged wins and carefully polished PR moves, their reputation is still in free fall. The fan base isn't buying the perfect couple act anymore. Their public appearances feel forced, awkward, desperate, and the more Blake and Ryan cling to this curated Hollywood fantasy, the more obvious it becomes that their empire is held together with duct tape and panic. But honestly, the hypocrisy is the most pathetic part of all this. They love to parade around as activists when it suits them. Ryan cracks his corny jokes, Blake plays the supportive, outspoken wife, and they both plaster on that we're just good people act. But when it comes to real accountability, silence, hiding, dodging. Their activism is as fake as those Time magazine awards, and people are finally catching on. The empire they built on staged photos, insider connections, and bought and paid for accolades is crumbling. And for once, no amount of sarcastic Deadpool humor is going to fix it. Even the fans questioning them now aren't just internet trolls. They're people who genuinely supported them for years, people finally waking up to how staged and transactional this whole image really is. And you know what? It's about time. They wanted to be Hollywood royalty, the couple everyone envied. But the cracks are exposed, the foundation is collapsing, and the entire world is watching the downfall play out in real time. No fake awards, no Instagram filters, and definitely no insider favors are going to patch this disaster together. And while Blake hides, Ryan has been on a full-blown PR parade, taking subtle, but let's be real, painfully obvious shots at Baldoni while trying to paint himself as the ultimate success story. You'd think after all the chaos surrounding his wife and that sham lawsuit, he'd have the decency to lay low. But no, Ryan is out here bragging that the controversy actually helped his brand grow. That's right. This guy is flexing about how turning someone else's reputation into roadkill is somehow a genius business strategy.
You can then not only get the attention, but you can then use all your businesses, which make you all the money and help show your businesses that you're still valuable. Oh, and we'll also throw in a big gala that you can bring Blake's mom to, and you can talk about how important DV is. It's going to be a perfect spin. What do you guys think?
And it doesn't stop there. Ryan's been standing on every available platform, swearing that accountability and integrity are the foundations of everything he does. Integrity, from the same guy who's shutting down comment sections faster then you can say, damage control. Spare us. If accountability means hiding from your own audience because they're calling you out, then sure, maybe Ryan's got a brand new definition of the word the rest of us haven't heard yet. It's all a carefully rehearsed strategy. One minute he's selling himself as this vulnerable, misunderstood, relatable millionaire who just wants to make people laugh. The next, he's smugly dunking on Baldoni, acting completely unbothered by the backlash. But his actions tell the real story. You don't scramble to shut down your own social media conversations unless you're panicking behind the scenes. You don't build a fake PR empire, buy off media attention, and hide behind moral slogans while humiliating someone else unless you're desperate to keep the spotlight on your carefully curated image. Ryan can spin all the TED Talk soundbites he wants, but the truth is glaringly obvious. Every time he claims to rise above the drama, his next move is laced with backhanded insults disguised as charming wit. The hypocrisy practically oozes out of every interview, and honestly, the only person he's still fooling at this point is himself. But here's where it gets even juicier. Let's talk about James Vushka, the Daily Mail reporter who single-handedly flipped this entire circus upside down. If you ever needed proof that the Reynolds lively PR machine is built on silencing dissent and manipulating narratives, this is it. Vushka started out doing exactly what Blake's team wanted. He filed a sworn statement downplaying her alleged smear campaign against Baldoni, helping them prop up their version of events. Classic Hollywood cleanup job, right? But guess what? Turns out he was pressured into it. And unlike Ryan, who apparently thinks hiding behind corny charm is the answer to everything, Vushka decided to blow the whole thing wide open. After realizing he'd been railroaded into protecting Blake's narrative, Vushka fired the Daily Mail's in-house lawyers, the same legal team tied to one of the most notorious tabloid empires in the business, and brought in Mark Garagos. And Garagos isn't the kind of attorney you call unless you're gearing up to take on very powerful people. The fact that Vushka ditched corporate-backed lawyers in favor of one of Hollywood's biggest legal sharks says everything about how real this mess is. That whistleblower status he secured? It's not just some dramatic headline, it's a giant red flag waving over the Reynolds lively PR operation. It shows exactly how far Blake's camp allegedly went to protect their image, from manipulating media coverage to pressuring insiders to stay silent, but the cracks are too big to paper over now. Insiders like Vushka are breaking ranks, exposing the rot behind the couple's glossy facade. And let's be real, this isn't just Blake's mess. It's Ryan's too. He's built an entire empire on calculated charm, playing the lovable goofball while ruthlessly steering the narrative. To protect himself and his wife, the Vushka whistleblower bombshell proves that even the slickest PR games can't keep the truth buried forever. Ryan's been strutting around with this ridiculous people-pleaser badge, selling himself as the harmless, sarcastic guy next door. But behind that relatable act is one of the most calculating corporate manipulators in Hollywood. It's honestly wild how he's convinced so many people he's just a regular dad cracking jokes and saving the world in a Deadpool suit, when in reality, every move he makes drips with control tactics. You'd think for someone so obsessed with appearing relatable, Ryan might be able to stick to one version of the truth.